I don't think they give us a ticket.
You're rolling? Well, let's talk about that. You mentioned that you are, particularly during the warmer months, you're on the go, going to Doctor Who conferences and whatnot? Okay. And you mentioned the difference in night and day between the States and Canada. Do the fans differ that much from...
No, the fans don't differ that much, I don't think. But the architecture is completely and utterly different, and thank God the food is different. I mean, since I've been here, my hosts have taken me to the most wonderful places to eat. I've eaten the most delicious food, and I can't stand the food in America. I don't like fast food.
Really?
No.
I mean, but not all of America is full of fast food. I mean, there are one or two decent restaurants down there.
Where? They're very, very hard to find, and sure, of course there are. You can look around and you can find that. And we were in Louisiana and we spent a lot of time there, and the fish there, of course, is magnificent. But after 2 days, you never want to see another crawfish.
Yeah, that tends to be a staple.
Like I never want to see another hamburger.
Okay. When you, we're going to have to go through a couple of questions that I'm sure you're asked in every interview. When you took this role in 1970, I mean, I suppose you had no idea as to what you were the mantle you were assuming.
No, I had no idea at all. They asked me if I'd like to do it, and I thought about it for quite a time. And then I said, how do you want me to play it? And they said, it's Jon Pertwee. And I said, who the hell's he? Because I'd never played myself before. I'd always hidden under a green umbrella, like my late friend Peter Sellers. We'd always played character. So it was quite a challenge for me to be me without any coverings, without spectacles or moustaches or beards.
Now, they describe you as a man of action. Now, do you think that's the kind of stamp you brought to the role?
Yes, it is. I brought my love of gadgetry. I ride motorbikes, I fly aircraft, used to race speedboats and cars. I ride a motorcycle every day of my life, so I brought all these things into the program, so we became a sort of science fiction James Bond. And my producers gave me full rein to do that and encouraged me to do it.
Now, you were in this role 4 or 5 years, depends on what literature you read, but yeah. 4 years?
No, it's 4 to 5 years, yes, it's a...
But you had a whole slew of theatrical credits and whatnot, you know, to your name and your biography, if you will. Before that, does it ever bother you at all that you're best known for that 4-year stint?
Well, no, I'm best known to you as that 4-year stint, but not to the general British public. Okay. People over the age of 35 to 40 remember me for many, many things prior to my entrance into Doctor Who. I had, for example, the longest-running radio series in the history of broadcasting anywhere in the world, called the Navy Lark. I believe it's actually been played over the air in Canada at some time or another. That ran for nearly 20 years. And so they knew me from radio. I was in steam radio, as we called it, for years and years before the advent of television. And, of course, I worked in the West End Theatre for years. I've starred in musicals for both here and in the United States of America. So I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none, really.
Okay. But can a role like this be definitely a mixed blessing?
No, because I'm too long in the tooth and too old for it to be typecast. But people have known me for too long to consider me typecast. If I was unknown to the British public or to the Australian or the English-speaking public before the advent of Doctor Who, then it would have been very difficult and I could have been typecast. But as it was, they knew me a long time before I went into it, and so they didn't typecast me.
What do you think about the range of the series now? There have been a number of people who played the title character. Each of them presumably puts their own mark on the role. Think it's for better or for worse these days?
That would be an idiotic question for me to answer, because if I said that I thought Colin Baker stank, the next time he's here and you ask him what he thinks of me, and you tell him what I said about him, he's not going to give me a very good report. No, we never give opinions about other people. It would be frightfully impolitic for us to do so. I haven't seen, to be perfectly truthful with you, I've seen none of Colin's, actually. None at all. But he's a great personal friend of mine, so that can put that straight.
Can you classify the typical Doctor Who fan for me? I mean, do they fall into some sort of strata somewhere?
No, there's no such thing as a typical Doctor Who fan. The Doctor Who fans in the United States of America and in Canada, I presume, I mean, I've only just met my charming hosts and hostesses here. I haven't met the fans en masse in Canada as yet. But in America, they're far more adult, they're far more erudite, far more intelligent, and much older.
Okay.
2 shots.
The annual shindig in Chicago, and that, of course, is a completely different thing. It's a very different wage cut.
And tell me about one, because I've never been to one.
No, not at all. Doctor Who fans are superbly polite. Ask anything. I mean, the other day somebody said Colin Baker likes cats. Do you like cats? And I said, no, but I like wild animals. And they said, what are cats? I don't have to think about it all. I don't know, but I gave it to my family lobsters. That's a really bad question. I don't know the answer to that.
So you try not to lose, even though
Oh, no.
I think you've got
I do know, I do listen